NFL players are comprised of a bunch. The NFL are comprised of a bunch of tough guys, including these 8 individuals who are primed to make an all-pro leap going into 2023. This comes from Maurice Moton of Bleacher Report. Good NFL writer. I actually respect his work over there.
Oh, wow. Not the actually.
Oh, that was kind of some underlying
Yeah,
shade,
the actually felt shady. Like, I respect his work.
That was unintentional shade.
I know it was unintentional, but it hit me.
Yeah. When I said it and then the way you reacted, I was like, ooh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, that was a little shade thrown toward Bleacher Report's way.
Oh, man. And from the 860 on the text line, they said they played Division III hockey as a goalie.
Okay.
When you get a puck to the knee, it feels like it literally locks your knee bent into place and you cannot move it without severe pain.
Oh, okay.
Once they had to have someone drive them home. It's awful and usually happens once a season as a goalie. That
sounds hella painful.
Yeah, I don't want it. Do not want.
Nope.
Do not want.
Good on that. From the 860? Right on the top of the knee is the worst. All right. Let us know on the text line, where is the worst place to take a puck to the body?
I feel like they're all tied for first.
Touche. 8 players, though, who are primed to make a all-pro leap in 2023. Now, this list is very interesting because one of these players actually made an all-pro team last year. In fact, was a second-team all-pro. So I didn't necessarily understand how he was included on this list, but we'll get to that player here in just a second. Number 1, though, on the list, Joe Burrow, poised to make an all-pro leap.
I found this so interesting because Joe Burrow has been incredible as a football player. We understand this in his first 3 seasons. The tough thing about the all-pro list is, are you one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the league? Like, it's not expansive, right? It's not the Pro Bowl, which he has been to, by the way, last season. It's not like all NBA where it's like, yeah, there's a few at your position. There are 2 in the entirety of the league. It's why I value personally, not that anybody cares what I value, but I personally value all pros when we start talking about NFL Hall of Fame considerations, because that means that for a season, you are one of the 2 best, at least when it comes to quarterback. And then when we get to certain positions, it expands out just a little bit. But you were one of the best of a very small population of or a very small percentage of your whole position group. And that speaks to your caliber and your quality. What have we been talking about with the NFL? It's just how many good quarterbacks are available. And of course, I understand all pro is not separated into leagues, but even just in the AFC, there are so many really good quarterbacks. So the idea that he is poised to jump up and become, one of the 2 best quarterbacks when it feels like Patrick Mahomes has one of those spots locked down consistently.
Correct.
I understand that he's played well enough to be in that caliber, so I don't want to try and knock him in that way, but it's going to be tough for him. He's going to have to ball.
Because as you mentioned, one of those all-pro spots is on lock every single year as long as Patrick Mahomes remains healthy. Now, the wild card comes in when you look at quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. You look at the rest of the NFL. I mean, your all-pro quarterbacks, for the most part, are going to come from the AFC.
Yeah. And look, from the 6A2, fair point. They say that they think most people would agree that Joe Burrow is one of the 2 best in the league. I think that he's very likely around that place, but I don't know that I can say that with some certainty. But okay, I guess the idea of poised to be able to jump into it, he is poised to have that happen. He's got a great offense around him. They've got a lot of talent. So very interested to see how that goes for them.
Question is, can the offensive line protect him? And if they can, they are going to be phenomenal. Nick Chubb comes in at number 2, running back from Cleveland, poised for an all-pro leap. Now, he is a 4-time Pro Bowler already. Mm-hmm. And, of course, last year ran for a career-high 1,525 yards, along with 12 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a tough thing for me. Is he played the whole season last year. That was one of the things that you would have knocked him on, is that, but he gets hurt. He misses some time. He played all the games. He was really, really good. Was not all pro. And so I'm like, are we getting to a point? Because again, we've seen 5 seasons of him, and it feels crazy to do this in football. But then
Who
you're like,
was first team All Pro from the running backs this year? Was it Jonathan? No, it wasn't Jonathan Taylor. Was it? I'll have to go.
But my point being, is I think we're starting to get to this point where in his career where we start going, are we in or past the prime of what he is and what he's capable of doing? And I think that's where, no idea. So if we can bet on him, if we can bet on him to play all these games again and do this again, all right, poised to do this. Also, you would hope that they are not as bad as they were last season, because that obviously you missed a lot of games with who you wanted to be your starting quarterback, and when that who you wanted to be the starting quarterback came back, he was awful. So maybe if that all flips up and he ends up, Deshaun Watson ends up playing better, and then you have the team success, Nick Chubb's individual success shines. So hopefully that works out for him. But I think I'm starting to look at it like, ooh, if he hasn't gotten it yet, I wonder how much love he'll get in that way.
By the way, it was Josh Jacobs who was first team All Pro from the running back position.
So we're talking about first team All Pro in this instance, because if we have people that have made, because Nick Chubb was second team All Pro, was he not?
I'll have to go back and get the full list. But that just gives you an idea of how good the running back position was.
Associated Press second team All Pro. Yeah, no, he was second team All Pro.
Okay, I'm sorry. Forgive me, I was looking at the NFLPA first team, because they had their own first team All Pro list this past year. I was looking at the NFLPA list, so forgive me for that. I had that incorrect when it came to the All Pro team. I was looking at the NFLPA one. NFL players primed to take an All Pro league. Now here's who comes in at number 3. Now remember, I mentioned a player who actually made second team All Pro last year.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is CeeDee Lamb.
He was second team All Pro.
I guess I'm questioning he wasn't already an All Pro.
Yeah. So are we just talking about first team at this point?
The first team All Pro.
Can I circle back to Joe Burrow now? Or we want to talk about Joe Burrow as the first team All Pro quarterback? And again, I understand great offense, all those things still. It just feels like Patrick Mahomes gets this off of one, being incredible, but like the name, it feels like we have really easily slotted him as the best quarterback in the league without being able to shake this. Anyways, back to CeeDee Lamb. Supposedly offense is supposed to be like get better for them, be a little less stale, a little bit less predictable. And he has made himself a bona fide wide receiver 1. I see how that goes, right? Like I see how that comes together. Last year he did like almost 1,400 yards. You tell me this thing gets more complete, gets more together?
I mean, the only thing that makes it even better for him is if he goes off for over 1,600 yards, 12, 13 touchdowns.
How do you feel about that possibility with the idea that the offense maybe is better, or with the hope that the offense is more streamlined, but then also with the understanding that you're feeding maybe some more people, and you hope that for like Michael Gallup to be more on pace, he, back to what you would hope, that he gets more yards, and Brandon Cooks is going to have his that he needs, and you're going to have the tight ends involved, right? Like, how do you feel in that regard that he has the opportunity to do that?
Well, if this offense is going to be as explosive as we believe it can be, it starts and ends with CeeDee Lamb being the focal point, which means he has to get 150 targets. He's got to have over 1,300 yards receiving. He's got to have close to double-digit touchdowns, because everyone else is going to eat off of CeeDee Lamb, because what he represented going into this year based off his season last year is that he has to be accounted for now on every single offensive snap, which means somebody is going to have a chance to get freed up to make plays, whether it be Cooks, Michael Gallup, hopefully Jalen Tolbert, these tight ends. Everyone now is going to eat off of CeeDee Lamb. So I think he still has to have that kind of production to continue to produce at that high level. A couple other names that made this list, one that Cowboys fans are sick of hearing about. Hassan Reddick for the Philadelphia Eagles, who was an absolute monster last year. First Pro Bowl nod, 16 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, a league-leading 5 forced fumbles. He was second team All-Pro and just 28 years of age, and still got a lot left in the tank going forward for the Eagles.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the Eagles it's one of the reasons why Howie Roseman has gotten so much praise, is that they have continued to invest in both offensive and defensive line. And so with that being the case, the way that those guys, the individuals on those lines have produced, you anticipate that remains because they have the same support. And if that talent remains, which you alluded to the idea that he has the age, he's in that time where you should be in his prime and still being able to produce, that there's a possibility that you see those numbers again.
And with that defense as ferocious as it is, and Hassan Reddick leading it, should be that much more productive this year. Another one that I'll mention, especially with him being in the NFC East before we go to break, Daron Payne. Daron Payne last year, 64 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, nearly 12 sacks, 5 pass breakups, and a safety.
What?
How do you have 5 pass breakups from the defensive tackle position?
Get your hands up. Get in the quarterback's face.
Look, that's why Daron Payne got paid. Of course, got that 4-year, $90 million contract extension with $60 million of it guaranteed. And here's the wild part. Daron Payne, only 25 years old. Gonna be around for a long time.
Yeah, don't remind me of that.
A long time.
Don't worry, Tyler Biadasz getting better.
Yes, he is getting better.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. 8 NFL players primed to take an all-pro leap. He is a monster. Daron Payne is a monster.
S-Doc is 7 on the Twitch chat says, I wish he was 36.
We do too.
Move him along.
So do we.